Well, welcome to the end of July. It's July the 27th. This is my Hive 2. Um, I call this the swarm hive because last year this was a swarm of our own that we caught. It ended up just being Hive 2. Um, so this hive, just quick recap, we requeened them on June 29th kind of time frame. We requeened them. We saw that the queen was accepted. We saw that they were, uh, allowing her to go ahead and start laying. Last week, my big concern was they just didn't have a whole lot of food resources, and it's really, the nectar flow here in um, 9 Mile Falls, Washington, where I live, has kind of dried up a little bit. We still have a lot of catnip out back, or in front, I guess. Um, we have a lot of catnip, and they are all over the catnip. And I'm interested in how that's going to impact my honey because they say it will give it kind of a minty. Catnip is in the basil mint kind of family, and so I'm excited to see how that works out. They're out foraging on it right now. I saw them on the way. I saw them on the way in to come check on them. So excited to see what's going on with this hive, but to be honest with you, right now, this hive, I'm going to be lucky just to get it through winter, which is wild because again, this hive started out as my big, strong hive, and the one I expected to be showing that other hive over there, kind of what's up. Oh my gosh, the problem of being a beekeeper. I swear, I have a locker over here that I've made for all my clothes and gloves and stuff. I'm gonna start doing this like Mr. Rogers. Come out here and show you how hard it is for me to get ready. Anyway, we requeened last week. We saw that although they had a ton of eggs, larvae, and brood, or I'm sorry, ton of eggs and larvae, they didn't have a lot of capped brood, and that was concerning um, because their population was really down. And so what I did last week was I took a frame of honey and 2 frames of capped brood, and I put them over here in this hive. And I did so because they really needed some population, or they're never going to make it. Now look at this hive, starting to come up, starting to see some population gain, just in time for them to start dwindling down the population for the winter. Um, just take a quick look, make sure my queen's not up here, and she shouldn't be, and she is not. So it is the end of July. Going on a business trip again next week, and I wanted to get out here and check them. I'm not going to do a Varroa treatment on this hive, um, or a Varroa test on this hive, just because they went through a complete requeening process. And in that process, they had empty cells for a very long time. A lot of drones in here still. Um, and I don't see any need to treat these ladies for Varroa right now because their cells should have been empty for a while. And so what I'm looking for now is just honestly to get this hive through to winter. And right now, I mean, it would be hard pressed. This hive would struggle to get through winter. There's just no weight on it at all. So what I might do is I'm trying to let them go as long as they can naturally and fill up with as much honey and nectar as they can naturally. And then here in a week or so, if I have to, I'll feed them. I mean, and she's laying up here. This is all eggs. This first frame, which you would expect to be honey, has honey on the outside, but nothing on the inside. And this back side is capped brood and honey, which is so weird because this outside frame should be just a resource frame. Let me just make sure she's not up here laying. Pretty docile today. It's a beautiful day. I actually wanted to get out here early because my wife and I have a lot of stuff to do before I leave for my trip tomorrow. And I want to get this taken care of. So, again, she's laid out a ton of eggs up here. So this concept of them ramping down for the winter has not hit this hive as of yet. We've got eggs, larvae, capped brood, an empty emergency queen cell. Of course, we wouldn't expect to see any swarming activity this late in the year. And at this point, to me, it's all about just trying to get them through to winter. And I may very well end up having to, a lot of capped brood up here. I don't need to look for eggs anymore because I've seen them. So now I'm just going to mostly focus on trying to eyeball my queen and see what's going on. Starting to fill. And see, what I'm worried about is that now I went through all this really quick early population growth. Then they went down for so long, and now they're repopulating just in time for everything to kind of dry up. But yeah, we got capped brood galore. And I have noticed this hive is working really hard right now. I've seen a lot of bees out front foraging out, which hasn't happened in a while. I feel horrible for this hive because they're really, like, they came out of winter. Oh, there she is right there, my queen. To your right. Where'd she go? Now she's at the bottom of the frame, walking towards the camera right now on the very bottom middle. Hopefully you can see that. Right here. Pretty docile today, the bees are. I don't know why I'm speaking like Yoda there, but I mean, they're building population now, which is crazy. But this hive really needs to get some honey. Otherwise, they are going to really struggle. Last week, we put a frame of honey up here for them to just kind of have some food. And they have been eating that. This is capped all the way. So, good news on that front. What I may do with this hive, as much as I really don't want to, is I may actually just end up feeding them. I don't want to do that because it's kind of the non-natural way. I feel like I should be letting them do whatever they do, but at the end of the day, if they can't make it through to winter, it's not going to do me any good. So this hive had some lessons for me this year in terms of a laying worker, in terms of, just in general queen issues. Let me just weigh this one real quick. But they're back and they're coming back strong. Call it 12 and a half. See, and this box really should be, call it 12. This box should be twice that weight. So I'm hoping as they get population, and I mean, they are just so much more relaxed than they were even at the beginning of the year this year. I mean, this year it began with these guys almost being like super aggressive. hardcore aggressive. And now they're just, I mean, I almost could be out here without a veil on, which is the opposite of what you'd expect, because usually bees get more aggressive the more they have to defend. And this hive is just really light on resources. Starting to get some nectar. I'm going to have to probably feed this hive, I'm not going to lie. Oops, I don't know why I did that. Good news is they're going to have plenty of population to finish filling this thing up and capping it. Problem is they're not going to have enough nectar around to make that a reality. Because these frames are just super light. Yeah, like that's not even built out at all. This one's got nectar and capped honey on it, but not much. And all my brood is up there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to feed this hive. Which is okay, because it'll be the food that's only for them. I wouldn't feed them if if it weren't the only way to get them through the winter at all. I really don't want to feed them, but they just don't have enough food or anything to get them through. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Give them some food. They got plenty of pollen. I got plenty of capped brood down here. So their population is going to soar, and they have the whole month of August to finish. Like I said, there is catnip and some small sources of food for them, but look at that. I mean, this last one's just all capped honey that I gave them from the other hive. This is all food that I gave them, and this was all the way capped, and you can see they're eating. So, I don't know. We'll give them another week. I'm not going to Varroa test them because I'll be honest with you, there's no way. Come on. Come on. There's no point in Varroa testing these girls. They don't have enough eggs, larvae, and brood to have even built up a population of Varroa mite. So there's no, they've been without brood for way too long. And like I said, at this point, I'm just trying to get them through winter. So I have two goals. First is to keep as natural as I can, let the bees be themselves as much as I can. But when I see a situation like this where it's obvious they have a good laying queen, they're working hard, they're building up their population, but they just don't have enough out here to forage on. I mean, all of our flowers, including all of the vetch, all of the fruit trees and everything, they're all done. We did see our neighbor the other day. They had they have a pretty big garden, and they were the bees were over there on their sunflowers and stuff, but they didn't, they had like two, so there just wasn't a lot to feed these guys. And so I think that's going to be my plan. I'm going to give them some food to try to get them stocked up through the winter. I'll come out and do that before I leave tomorrow, and we'll go from there. If anything changes, I'll let y'all know.